Imagine standing on a windswept plain, the air thick with the scent of earth and wild grasses, your hands gripping a jagged stone chipped into a blade. No cities, no roads, no words written on paper, just you, the endless horizon, and the raw pulse of survival. Welcome to the human wild, where we uncover the forgotten roots of humanity. The stories etched not in books but in stone. Today we're diving into the Stone Age, a time that spans 99.3% of our history, over 3.4 million years when humans evolved, survived, and thrived without metal, without electricity, without writing. This isn't just the distant past. It's the foundation of who we are. So, grab a seat by the fire, and let's journey back to when stone was our greatest ally, our sharpest weapon, and the spark that turned apes into humans. When we talk about human history, it's easy to picture grand civilizations, Egypt's towering pyramids, Mesopotamia's bustling cities, or Rome's marble forums. But here's the truth that hits like a thunderclap. Almost all of human existence happened before anyone knew how to write a single word. For millions of years, our ancestors roamed a planet that was both beautiful and brutal, armed only with their wits and tools carved from stone. The Stone Age wasn't some dim, primitive chapter, as old textbooks might have you believe. It was the crucible where humanity was forged. Every step we took, every fire we lit, every hunt we planned. It all shaped the instincts that still hum in our veins today. You might be watching this on a screen, surrounded by the hum of modern life, but deep down, you carry the memory of those ancient plains, those starlit nights, those moments when a sharpened flint meant the difference between life and death. Picture a world where the only technology is what you can shape with your hands. No metal blades, no wheels. No alphabets, just stone, bone, and the endless ingenuity of the human mind. The Stone Age began over 3.4 million years ago, when our earliest ancestors first picked up a river cobble and struck it, creating a sharp edge that could slice through hide or crack open a bone. That simple act was revolutionary. It wasn't just a tool. It was intelligence made tangible, a spark of creativity that separated us from every other creature. With these stone tools, humans could cut meat, scrape hides, fend off predators, and even build the first fragile communities. Stone wasn't just a material, it was a declaration of our will to survive, to reshape the world around us. The Stone Age isn't a single, frozen moment in time. It's a vast tapestry, woven across millions of years and every corner of the globe. It didn't end neatly either. In some places, like Western Asia, it faded around 3000 BCE when people began smelting metal. In Europe, it lingered until about 2000 BCE. But in parts of the Americas, Africa, and the Pacific, the Stone Age stretched into the 16th or 17th century, when European explorers arrived with their iron and steel. This raises a question that lingers like smoke. Was the Stone Age a stage we all passed through, or is it a shadow we've never fully escaped? When you look at our drive to create, to survive, to leave a mark, whether it's a handprint on a cave wall or a post on the internet, don't you see echoes of that ancient spark? The Stone Age isn't just history. It's a mirror, reflecting the instincts that still drive us. As we sit by this imaginary fire, let's think about what it was like to live in that world. The Stone Age isn't just one story. It's three, each a chapter in the epic of human survival. These chapters, the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic, show us how our ancestors adapted, innovated, and dreamed, building the foundation for everything we are today. The fire crackles as we settle in, and now we're stepping into the first chapter of the Stone Age. The Paleolithic, the Old Stone Age, a saga that stretches from 2.6 million years ago to around 10,000 BCE. Picture yourself in a world of endless plains and towering glaciers, where woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats roam. You're part of a small band, maybe 20 or 30 people, moving with the seasons, following herds of deer or bison. Your life depends on what you can hunt or gather, and your only tools are chipped from stone. Hand axes, flint knives, scrapers for cleaning hides. These aren't just rocks. They're your lifeline, extensions of your hands and your will to survive. Every day is a gamble against hunger, cold, and predators. But you're not alone. Your band is your family, your strength, your survival. In this world, fire is a miracle. Homo erectus, one of our early ancestors, figured out how to control it, and that changed everything. Imagine huddling around a blaze, the warmth pushing back the night, the smell of roasting meat filling the air. Fire meant safety, cooked food, and a place to share stories. Maybe not with words, but with gestures, glances, laughter. Later in the Paleolithic, we meet the Neanderthals, and they're not the brutes you might imagine. They buried their dead with care, sometimes with flowers or tools, showing a tenderness that feels so human. They looked after their sick, their injured, even crafted sharper tools, spears for hunting, blades for skinning. These were people who didn't just survive. They cared, they connected, they wondered. But the Paleolithic wasn't just about getting by. It was about imagination. Deep in caves, our ancestors painted bison, horses, and handprints on the walls, using charcoal and clay. These weren't just drawings. They were rituals, maybe prayers, messages sent to the spirits of the animals they hunted. In Germany, archaeologists found bone flutes from 35,000 years ago, proof that music was part of their world. Imagine the sound of those flutes, echoing through a cave, blending with the rhythm of drums or the stomp of feet. This was a time when survival was art, when every hunt, every painting, every note was a step toward something bigger. The Paleolithic wasn't just about enduring. It was about dreaming, about asking questions we still ask today. Who are we? What's out there in the dark? As the world began to change, so did we. The Ice Age was retreating, and the glaciers that once covered the land were melting away. The Paleolithic way of life, chasing herds, living on the move, wasn't enough anymore. The planet was warming, forests were spreading, and our ancestors had to adapt. This brings us to the next chapter, a time of transition where humans began to find new ways to live with a changing world. The embers glow as we move forward into the Mesolithic, the Middle Stone Age, a time that spans roughly 10,000 to 8,000 BCE. The world is transforming. Sea levels are rising, drowning old coastlines, and the megafauna that once fed your band are disappearing. The endless wandering of the Paleolithic is giving way to something new. You're no longer chasing herds across vast plains. Instead, you're setting up camp by a river or a lake, staying put for a season or two. Your tools are changing, too smaller, more precise, like microliths, tiny stone fragments shaped into arrowheads, fish hooks, or harpoon tips. These are the multi-tools of the Mesolithic, perfect for a world where you're fishing, trapping small game, or gathering shellfish along the shore. Life in the Mesolithic feels like a bridge, a moment when humanity is figuring out who we're going to be. You're not quite a farmer yet, but you're not just a hunter either. You're experimenting, adapting to a world that's greener, wetter, more alive. Fishing becomes a big deal. Nets, weirs, and hooks let you pull more from the rivers than ever before. You might even store some of that catch for leaner days, a sign you're thinking ahead. And then there's the dogs. Somewhere in this time, humans and wolves form a bond, and those first domesticated dogs become partners, helping with hunts, guarding camps, curling up by the fire. Imagine looking into the eyes of a dog, its loyalty a quiet promise in a wild world. Your camps are more than just stopping points now. They're semi-permanent, maybe a cluster of tents made from hides or branches, built near a steady source of food. These aren't villages yet, but they're a step toward something bigger, a place where you can stay long enough to feel at home. The Mesolithic is like humanity's adolescence. Restless, curious, trying new things. You're learning to read the land in a new way, to see it not just as a place to survive, but as a place to belong. The tools, the camps, the dogs, they're all signs of a mind that's stretching, reaching for something more. That something more is just over the horizon. As the world keeps warming, as the seasons settle into new patterns, humans are ready to take a leap. The wandering, the experimenting, it's all leading to a moment when we stop chasing food and start creating it, when we plant our roots and build a new kind of life. The firelight dances as we step into the Neolithic, the new Stone Age, a time that begins around 10,000 BCE in some places and changes everything. This is the era when humans say, "Enough running." You're not chasing herds anymore. You're planting seeds, wheat, barley, lentils, and watching them grow. You're raising goats, sheep, cattle, building pens to keep them safe. Your tools are different now, polished and precise. Sickles for harvesting, grinding stones for flour, axes for clearing land. These aren't just tools. They're the machinery of a new world, a world where you control your food, your future. This is the revolution of farming, and it's not just about what's on your plate. It's about where you live. You're building houses now, not just tents, houses of wood, rammed earth or stone. In places like Çatalhöyük in Turkey or Skara in Scotland, you find villages with actual streets, homes with hearths, even drainage systems. Walk into one of those houses, and you'd smell bread baking, hear the chatter of neighbors, feel the warmth of a life rooted in place. These aren't just shelters. They're homes, the first steps toward cities. But the Neolithic is more than practicality, it's about dreaming bigger. You're building stone tombs, like dolmens, that stand like sentinels against the sky. You're carving figurines of fertility goddesses, their curves celebrating life, creation, the earth itself. Rituals grow more elaborate, with altars and offerings, maybe even priests or leaders who hold sway. Social hierarchies emerge, some houses are bigger, some granaries fuller. This is when the outlines of civilization come into view, when humans start to organize, to believe, to create something lasting. The Neolithic is also when we start to ask bigger questions. Those fertility figurines, those stone temples, they're not just art. They're a way of reaching out to the universe, of wondering about life, death, and what lies beyond. The tools, the villages, the rituals, they're all part of a shift, a moment when humans stop just surviving and start building a world that reflects their dreams. But even as we plant these roots, something new is stirring, a discovery that will change the game entirely. The fire is low now, but the story isn't over. We're at the edge of the Stone Age, around 4000 BCE, and humanity is about to take a leap into the Bronze Age. In places like West Asia, you're no longer just shaping stone, you're heating it, mixing copper with tin or arsenic to create bronze. This isn't just a new tool, it's a revolution. Bronze is harder, sharper, more durable than stone, perfect for axes, spears, knives. It's not just about cutting better, it's about power. With bronze, you can forge weapons, build armies, create city-states. Places like Uruk in Iraq or Upper Egypt are buzzing with this new technology, crafting tools and weapons that reshape society. But this change doesn't happen everywhere at once. In the Americas, cultures like the Inca and Maya work gold and copper, but they don't fully embrace bronze. In parts of Africa, the Stone Age lingers until European ships arrive centuries later. Even in Europe, you find people like the Iceman, a 5,300-year-old mummy from the Alps, carrying a bronze axe in one hand and a stone knife in the other. He's a bridge between worlds, living in a moment when stone and metal coexist, when the old ways and the new are intertwined. The Stone Age, though, isn't just about tools or technology. It's about the human spirit, the part of us that dreams and creates. In caves like Chauvet and Lascaux, your ancestors painted bison and horses, not just as art but as rituals, maybe prayers to the spirits of the hunt. Bone flutes from 35,000 years ago tell us they made music, maybe danced under the stars. They buried their dead with care, sprinkled with red ochre, adorned with necklaces, believing in something beyond this life. By the Neolithic, they built stone tombs and carved fertility figurines, celebrating life, the earth, the cycle of creation. These acts, painting, playing music, building, are more than survival. They're questions, etched in stone and clay. Who am I? What's my place in this universe? That question is the thread that ties the Stone Age to today. Look at our world, cities of glass and steel, probes on Mars, stories told through screens. We're still those same humans, chasing answers, leaving our mark. The Stone Age wasn't a beginning we left behind. It's the foundation we stand on. Every smartphone, every rocket, Every story is built on those first chipped stones, those first fires, those first dreams. So, as we let this fire fade, let's carry the Stone Age with us. It's in our need to create, to explore, to ask why. Thank you for joining us on The Human Wild. If this journey stirred something in you, hit that subscribe button, share this with someone who loves a good story, and drop a comment below. Tell us what part of the Stone Age speaks to you. Until next time, keep the fire burning, and let's keep uncovering the truths hidden in the stones.